Okay, this is Roger once again, and Mudfossils University. This is CBS News. They're all starting to come around now and looking at this ancient stuff since I've been doing the mud fossils. But it's been 10 years, and it's time that my stuff is the stuff that's seen. This is a human footprint. This isn't just footprints from dinosaurs 200 million years old. This is a human footprint, and it is in what is considered to be, I believe, Triassic rock. Again, I would like a discussion and a debate, and I will tell you why I think this is Triassic rock. The traditional signature of Triassic rock is red bed, which is this, the red bed, and then there was a gray clay, which is this right here. You see that gray clay? And then on top of that, there was a black cap, this right here, and this came right off of here. You see it? That's the molding of the footprint. This is the black cap, and guess what? This gray clay that is here now was on top of the red bed. This was stepped right through that red bed. Think about this carefully now. Give it some serious thought, because you have a red bed, it's all down here. Then the gray clay came on top. Then the guy came running through here, stepped on the gray clay, which was still wet, quite obviously, and so was the red bed, because it pushed that gray clay down through the red bed. So they had to be wet at the same time. And then guess what? This fell almost instantly on top of that. This black cap, which is carbonaceous type of stuff. This really, to me, proves Velikovsky's account of what happened. Look at this. My foot, these are the balls of your feet. My foot fits right in there almost perfectly. It's not quite this big, but you know, not too far off. And this is it. This is the black cap. And this is what happened. The Earth was wrenched by the impact of Venus on our atmosphere, which made the atmosphere literally combust. Every volcano on Earth went off. The smoke filled the skies, which caused this. Before that happened, everything was boiled in the oceans and so forth. I don't know how this guy stayed alive, or it was all happening at the same time. I really don't know. It couldn't be more than a day or two apart. I mean, look at it. This thing here now is starting to dry up. I put a little water on these things so you can see it. And we're going to look at these suck-ups. I got the microscope going. And the way to look at these things, always put a little water on them, because the hydration, the water brings out the colors and the textures and all that stuff. But that is gray clay, and that was on top of that red bed. And this is a huge deal to these people, finding footprints of dinosaurs, which we'll get into that deeper in a minute. But dinosaurs were not anything special, trust me. They were nothing special. And everything was all different sized creatures. A goose. That goose boiled in this flood. And Velikovsky gives the account of it from every culture on Earth had the same stories. The approach of Venus was so intense, the heat and the light, that the atmosphere just got so hot that people just couldn't stand it. They had to either hide in caves, and those were the ones that survived, and they had to be way up high too. And the other ones, they jumped in the water. They literally boiled. They literally boiled. This is exactly what it says. And then there was so much condensation because the atmospheres were crushed together. The hydrogens and oxygens recombined into rain, and it rained like hell. And it took so much oxygen out of the atmosphere they couldn't even start fires for a while. Okay, I want to work with CBS News. I want to be a consultant on mud fossils. I discovered them. I understand them. I have the chemistry, I have DNA tests, I have CAT scans, and I just don't have the resources to bring this forward. But I have shown you, or will show you, this is a Triassic rock setup. It looks like to me red bed, gray clay, black cap, and there is a footprint in the middle of it. pressed down through that gray, through the gray clay, pushed it down. Now, I would love to work with CVS. Nobody has taken me seriously for 10 years, even with having the CAT scans and the DNA and the specimens and all that, because I have giant human beings. However, now I see they have sort of unfolded themselves, and they started to look into this a little bit deeper. And this is now, they're starting to talk about footprints found and all this stuff. Well, I have the human footprints. That's a human footprint. And it is right through that red bed, and it pushed that gray clay to the bottom. So we got a lot to talk about our history here, and about the ages of things, because all three of these things happened at the same time. This black cap came right over the top of that red bed. Alright, so you had a red bed, was just laying there, the gray clay was on top, the guy came up, stepped through it, pushed it down, and the black stuff came down right on top. All three happened probably the same day. And it would all be likely due to the exact what Velikovsky said happened. The Earth was wrenched from the impact of Venus into our atmosphere. And this is the result, and the mud fossils are the result. And this is a foot very similar to a human foot. Hold on. And then we have a variety of these kind of feet, which I call no-toes. This has some kind of a feature to the bottom of the foot. It has some pads, but certainly not like what we're looking at on this one. This one here is identical, basically identical to a human footprint, with the toes and so forth. The balls of my feet fit right in here exactly perfectly. Exactly perfectly. And the big toe goes off to this side. So, and then I have giants living. This came out of the same hole with the giant hands and all kinds of things. It's just insane. And then we have all the bones and so forth in this area have turned to stone. They've been boiled, and then they separated along the membranes. And I have all these things. Even the goose. I've shown my goose a million times. People are sick of seeing this stuff now. The one guy said, "We're done with the goose. Move on." Well, nobody's seen this stuff, so I'm not moving on until it's understood and it's allowed to be seen. Right now, it's not allowed. I'm not allowed to show this at Yale or Harvard or anywhere. They refuse to engage. No matter how much evidence I have, until I get with somebody like CBS or somebody that has a footprint that is allowed to speak, we're just walking around being silly. Looking at stuff like this and going, "Oh, look at that! Holy smokes, it's a dinosaur footprint! Oh my God, how did they ever find something so fabulous?" You know, I mean, what the hell is... Oh man, what a world. Alright, don't forget, we have the red bed down here, and then the gray clay is on the top. And that's what the guy stepped in, and he was running like hell, because his heel hit here first. Bam! Then he rolled this way real hard and kept going forward. That's a runner. And that's the heel imprint. And these are the suck-ups. We're going to look at this in a microscope. And you can see at the edges it's nice and smooth, because he hit here real hard and went just like that. People like that sound. And that's what creates these suck-ups. You see them? These little bumpy looking suck-ups. And on the side, it's nice and smooth, see, because that wouldn't be, you wouldn't get that suction of the little mud slip that's on there. And again, this is gray clay. That is gray. All right, let me see if it might be hard for you to see. Gray is a hard thing to make out, but you can see right above it. You see the red bed? Well, that red bed was below it before, and this got pushed through. So let's check it out in a microscope. Now, I looked at it in a microscope. There's nothing you can see. But you can see his heel hit like here, wham, and rocked forward, crushing his toes into there. And the whole slab went through the bottom. Now, you can see it's smooth on the edge. This is about the best shot you're going to see of this. And these are these little suck-ups. They're little tiny things that the air forced them to rise up in this little pattern. And this must have, the black cap must have gone on here almost instantaneously. All three of them had to be wet virtually at the same day, as far as I'm concerned. They must have been very close to that. And this red bed, as far as I'm concerned, is iron oxides. Well, it is. And it's I believe it's the boiled flesh and so forth, because there's a lot of blood in it. Blood is iron, that's all. And then above that was this gray clay. Now the gray clay, we should have it analyzed and see what's in that, because that's going to be what they, there's different types of stone. And they, well, let me show you the, some technical stuff. But my point being, what you want to take away from this is they're looking for dinosaur footprints. I mean, they're everywhere. There's all kind of footprints. But this sheds entirely new light on everything. Because if this is a Triassic, which it appears to be, and they say this happens every so often, there's these iron oxide layers to cover the entire Earth. And that's the only way it could happen. This is from a gigantic flood. And this was written about, and this was only 3,500 years ago. This was right under, this was right just barely under the surface of the Earth, right next to at my house, under my house actually. They dug a little tiny foundation for my wife's office, and it, you know, not deep. And this came out, and all kinds of things came out. Absolutely incredible what we're just laying on top of and have no idea about.